Extraordinary cook and author Julia is here to make a delicious chicken pie. Your book Around the Table is so special. It's your recent book and this is in it. And as soon as I saw it, I said, please, can you make this pie for me?
Thanks, Jar. So good to be here.
And what's the pastry that makes this so special?
So the pastry is a sour cream pastry, which is going to give it a lot of flake. It's going to be really buttery as well.
Yep.
And it's just going to enclose this beautifully poached chicken really nicely.
Oh, she's so great with her words, isn't she? All right, well, let's start this pastry.
Okay, perfect. So first we've got just some all-purpose flour.
Sure.
This is going to go on the board. You can do it in a bowl as well if that's easier.
Yep.
So while I'm just getting the flour sorted, do you mind cutting up the butter?
Can do.
Amazing. So I'm just going to add a pinch of salt and just going to mix it up with my hands. I really like having it on a board. I just feel like you can kind of get into it a lot easier.
And I think it just looks much more beautiful when you're actually on the board, bringing it all together. You've got more control.
Agree. So we're going to put the butter in here and I'm just going to use my hands to kind of coat those larger pieces of butter first. So all the flour is starting to encapsulate that butter.
Right. Could you do this in a food processor?
Yeah, totally. And I think just when you're doing it in a food processor, you just want to be cautious that you're not over mixing it. You want to keep it really nice and kind of larger pieces of butter, which is going to help with that flakiness.
Very nice.
So I'm just rubbing it in with my fingers.
Yep.
So while I'm doing this, do you want to get started on the chicken?
Would love to, sure.
Amazing. So we have chicken thighs, which are going to poach in milk, bay leaves and peppercorns, and that's going to kind of form the base of our pie.
Oh, I love this. So the chicken thighs have got the bone in so it stays nice and juicy as it cooks. 2 bay leaves and I've got some peppercorns.
Amazing.
And then we pop the milk on. So how long does this cook for?
Just until the chicken is tender.
Okay.
And it's starting to fall apart. So it will depend on the size of the chicken thighs.
Nice one. And I'm going to keep an eye on it because it's milk.
Yes.
It can sometimes overflow. So you want to control the cooking when you're cooking with dairy.
Exactly. A lowish heat is great.
That looks good.
Yeah, so we're ready to go. You can see we've still got some kind of larger bits. There's a little bit of butter mixed in. It's nothing fancy or perfect. It's home cooking. And then what we're going to do, so I'm going to just grab the sour cream and a spoon. And this is going in here.
I just love sour cream pastry. For savoury dishes or for sweet dishes, it's like the ultimate, isn't it?
Totally. And it's just that fat element which is going to create that really puffy, flaky pastry.
Absolutely.
So we're just going to work that sour cream in almost as if it was the butter.
Yep. And once we've formed a ball of dough, that goes into the fridge and we're going to rest it for about an hour?
Exactly.
Okay.
So we've strained the chicken from the milk. So we've shredded all of those beautiful thighs. We've gotten rid of the bones and the skin and just kept the meat.
Okay.
And then here we have the milk, which is now perfumed with all that bay and peppercorns.
That smells so good.
It smells really good. So that's going to form our sauce later. But first we've got the leeks in here. They've been just cooking down with some butter and extra virgin olive oil until they're nice and soft. They look gorgeous.
So soft.
Yeah, so soft. And then to that we're going to start flavouring it. So we're going to put some mustard in.
Okay.
And
So
then
a teaspoon of that.
Yeah, teaspoon of mustard. And then we're going to put some herbs in just for some extra flavour.
Right.
So I've got oregano. So we simply just are picking them off and popping them into the leeks.
Okay.
Oregano, thyme and some marjoram as well.
And how underrated is marjoram?
It's the best.
It's
I love
so good.
bay leaves and marjoram are my two most used herbs.
So no chopping,
No,
pop it
I
in
just
straight
pop
away?
it in.
Yep.
Yeah, you can obviously chop it if you want. You could add parsley too, if you want a bit more freshness. And then once we've got our herbs in, we're going to add some flour. So that's going to start creating the roux with the butter.
Right.
And we're just going to mix that in till it's a little bit cooked. That's smelling really good. And I'm going to go in with the milk.
Okay.
We're going to add it a little bit at a time and constantly stirring it until it's a little bit thicker. And then we're going to fold through the chicken and we're ready to put our pie together.
Ooh, it's going to be good.
So our chicken is cooled, it's thickened up really nicely, and I've brought the pastry out of the fridge, and we're just going to start rolling out one circle, which is going to be the base. So just have some flour on hand.
Yes.
Make sure it's not sticking, and you can see all of that beautiful butter.
That's what I'm looking at now. It's those little clumps of butter. You know you've got a good pastry when that's happening and it's holding together.
Yeah.
And this free-form pie scenario is fantastic because when you put it on a flat tray like this, as opposed to in a big pie dish, it's heavier.
And I just love that you don't need any special, dishes or equipment.
Yep.
You can do it anywhere. All right, I think we're pretty much there.
Yep. Great.
So I'm just going to bring it onto the tray.
Sure.
So we can pop that there.
Beautiful.
And then we can actually put our cooled chicken mixture just in the centre, leaving a little bit of a border. And while you're doing that, I can roll out the other half of the pastry.
Great.
And
look how this is thickened up. We cooked it for a good 3 to 4 minutes afterwards until it's really thick.
Exactly.
And then we add the chicken, and then fear not, cool it down even further and it'll thicken even more, which is what you want for a pie.
That's right.
So do you say about a 2 centimetre that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we're going to put this other pastry round on top and then just crimp it with our fingers, and it's going to be super rustic.
Now this is what I want to see, the crimping.
We're ready to go.
Okay.
So I'm just going to put this other half of the pastry on top. I like to fold it in half.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a really good little trick.
It just makes it easier to kind of bring it across.
Yep.
So I'm just going to make sure it's in the centre.
Like a little blanket.
Exactly. And we're just kind of creating this edge. So that's going to keep the pie nice and together.
Lovely. It's kind of like a French petit vier.
Yeah, totally. So we're just cutting a little bit. You don't want to cut too much off.
Yeah, we love pastry.
We love pastry.
And when you make your own pastry at home, all these trimmings you can throw away, but you can keep it, make just like a little pie later on.
Or you could decorate your pie.
Absolutely.
And then I just go around and I'm just kind of bringing it together. So I'm just using my fingers and pushing it in.
Just to fasten it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you could use, you could use a fork if you wanted to kind of bring it together.
Yeah, I love this. There's no technique here. It's just crimping it together, pushing it together, and it looks beautiful.
Exactly. And these bits are going to go really nice and crunchy and crispy.
Fantastic. And how long are we cooking this in the oven for?
So at 180 degrees for about an hour.
Okay. Jules, this pie looks magnificent. Golden,
It looks good.
flaky.
It looks good.
You've got to cut
I've got to cut into it. And we've cooled it down a little bit so the filling doesn't kind of escape.
Yep.
But, it smells incredible as soon as you cut into it.
I feel like I won't be making a pie in a pie dish anymore. What
Look
for?
at that pastry.
Oh, the pastry's great.
It looks beautiful.
You're right. I mean, if you look in there, you can see that pastry. It's golden on the bottom, which
no soggy bottoms.
Yep.
We have to try.
Go after you.
After
You've made it. You've done all the hard work.
Thank you.
Oh, you're like me. I go
creamy.
straight for that centre
corner.
bit. Yep. All right. Little pie.
It's really good. It's flaky, the chicken's tender, and you can taste the bay leaves and pepper, everything. I'm happy.
You're happy. I'm happy. We're all happy. Chicken pie. It puts a smile on your face. It's that good. Jules, thank you.
Thank you.